You know, my jaw dropped.
I just wanted to thank all of you for welcoming me into the Invictus family.
2 effing grifters. So
What happens when an event meant to honor wounded veterans ends up carrying a staggering $63 million price tag? That's the question now, putting the Sussexes and the Invictus Games under a serious spotlight.
200,000 pounds go toward the vets. 200,000 pounds out of 63 million.
And for many critics, that shocking cost is just the beginning of a much bigger controversy. The 2025 Invictus Games in Vancouver reportedly came in at around $63 million while hosting 543 veterans. That breaks down to roughly $118,000 per participant.
they brought in, it was around 62 million.
Not bad.
50% of that was from the government of Canada and BC, meaning that was taxpayers. And when you're dealing with taxpayer monies, people are kind of like, hey, why are we not buying prosthetics?
Right.
And that number instantly got people talking, raising hard questions about where all that money actually went. So where the Sussexes put all that money? Critics didn't wait long before comparing Invictus to similar events with the same mission.
Comparison, the US Warrior Games, a similar competition for wounded American service members, runs on roughly $2 million a year. Germany's Invictus-style competition costs about $200,000 and involves half as many participants. The public's taxes footed a portion of the bill.
Those comparisons quickly sparked backlash, and one question kept repeating: why was Invictus so much more expensive?
Somehow this balloons from an event that cost $1 million the first year they did it to $63 million now. Harry has ballooned the budget from $1 million. It cost $1 million to do it with 400 people. It's now $63 million with an extra 140 people. What the
As more people dug into the numbers, the financial debate only got louder. Reports claimed that direct charitable support to veteran organizations dropped by roughly 63% during one period, even while overall revenue was going up.
But people are a little upset about where the money is going because right now there's been a 63% drop in actual grants to wounded warriors, despite the fact that they have more money in their bank than ever from carryover. And in Vancouver,
That revelation triggered fresh criticism and fueled concerns from observers who believe veterans should always remain the top priority.
Prince Harry seemed to have left Scott Snow behind. Competed in 2023 Invictus in Dusseldorf. He was injured. He was in a wheelchair that did not have restraint straps, so basically defective hardware. It drives me crazy. I mean, Prince Harry founded these games. He's the public face of Invictus. And has anyone from his office bothered to reach out to you? Has anyone bothered to, from Invictus, after that initial meeting, bothered to reach out and say, hey, let's help out here?
I never heard from anybody, to be honest with you.
Questions got even sharper when attention turned to a new 6-figure executive position, rising financial reserves worth millions, and compensation levels that some critics say look unusually high for an organization of this size.
And how they're playing with the veteran money because they're getting a lot of funding from countries and places to get this, what would typically be veteran support income.
Critics started asking whether too much money was being absorbed into administration while too little was reaching the very people the games were created to support. The controversy soon stretched beyond Prince Harry alone as focus shifted toward the Sussexes as a whole.
So, also, it doesn't pay for the veterans' transportation or insure them. I mean, what is this paying for?
The insurance thing is insane.
It is.
Insurance.
Lots of private jets, lots of camera crews, lots of security, a documentary, beautiful fashion, of course, from Meghan, 5-star hotels they stay in. I wonder, somebody is doing there's an audit being done on the $63 million right now. I think this is going to turn out very, very badly.
Reports suggested that about $15 million came from the Canadian government and another $15 million from British Columbia. Suddenly, taxpayers were pulled straight into the conversation, and demands for answers only grew louder. Where is our, as taxpayers, money actually going?
According to tax returns on file, the public picked up half the tab for Vancouver, with the Canadian federal government contributing $15 million through the Veterans Affairs Canada and the province of British Columbia contributing another $15 million through its Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Sport. The remaining funds came from approximately 40 corporate partners and about $2.6 million in individual donations. Crucially, that public money didn't flow directly to the Games. It was routed through the Vancouver Whistler Games Corporation, which then paid a licensing fee to the Invictus Games Foundation, the British charity that owns and licenses the Games brand. The amount of that licensing fee was oddly redacted.
As pressure for transparency increased, critics began focusing on documents filled with redacted figures and missing contract details. That lack of clarity only fueled more curiosity and left many demanding a clearer breakdown of how funds were handled and distributed. One document in particular sparked even more debate.
An American for-profit company called June's LLC, with no description of purpose, received nearly £30,000 in 2023 and nothing in 2024. And the same filing contains two different company registration numbers, one on the cover page, another on the balance sheet.
Some readers believed it suggested that the head of the Games may have received compensation through two separate channels. Importantly, no public admission has ever shown that the Sussexes personally received any of these funds. Even so, the numbers continue to raise questions in the public conversation.
That Invictus funds were directed towards private jets, five-star hotels, and transportation for Harry and Meghan.
But money wasn't the only issue making headlines. Behind the scenes, another battle was quietly starting to unfold. A well-known journalist, Paula Froelich, published stories covering many of the same topics and ended up opening a lot of people's eyes.
What really bothered me was this is all a PR play.
As accusations, unanswered questions, and public scrutiny kept piling up, a new question started hanging over the entire controversy. Was an even bigger scandal waiting around the corner? But that dispute quickly opened the door to an even bigger debate. Was Invictus ever truly Prince Harry's project from the very beginning?
It is such an honor to be here tonight, celebrating all of you and supporting my husband in the Invictus Games, which he founded.
Some critics strongly reject the idea that Harry built the Games on his own. They argue that much of the groundwork was laid through the Royal Foundation during the period when both Prince William and Prince Harry were actively involved. According to this perspective, Invictus was never a one-man achievement, but the result of broader royal support and institutional backing. But who is reportedly benefiting from all that now?
Don't you give him credit for the Invictus Games. The royal family started it with money William got from a lawsuit that William won. He donated money to start the Invictus Games. That's what people said in the comments. I don't know. Don't get mad at me if I'm wrong about that. And then they turned it over to Harry to give him something to do.
Invictus became the defining role that gave Harry purpose, visibility, and a clear mission within royal life. Without it, some critics argue, his public identity inside the monarchy would have looked very different.
The Games were born more than a decade ago from a promise that I made to myself. A promise to uphold my obligation, a sacred obligation after my own decade and privilege of military service, to do whatever I could to help my fellow brothers and sisters heal, and to champion everything that we stand for.
The official version tells a different story. According to reports, including accounts cited by Time magazine, Prince Harry was inspired after attending the Warrior Games in the United States in 2013. That experience is widely credited as the moment that sparked the creation of the Invictus Games and the vision of providing wounded service members with an international platform to compete and be recognized. But now a bigger question is emerging. Is this the real reason Harry remains so deeply attached to Invictus?
Oh, the Invictus Games, it's great. It does all this. And then, you know, you start looking into it and you're like, hey, what the heck is going on here? You know, those 535 competitors had to pay their own way. They had to pay their own housing for the games. They had to pay for their own equipment. And Harry and Meghan got a really nice vacation out of it with lots of adorational speeches and clapping and crowds gathered for them.
And for many, the argument is no longer just about who deserves the credit. They argue that the Sussexes became associated with a project that carried enormous public goodwill and admiration, only for the conversation to become increasingly dominated by questions about spending, accountability, and a reported $63 million price tag. And the pressure didn't stop in Canada.
This is basically a PR play for Harry because he's about to go to Birmingham right now, drum up some business, because right now he only has 4 million in unnamed corporate sponsors for the 2027 games. And he needs a lot more. He needs about at least 25 million more to match the government's 29 million pounds.
Attention soon shifted to Birmingham, where reports linked a future edition of the Games to a city already struggling with financial challenges. Residents facing budget cuts and local service reductions began asking hard questions about priorities and public spending. And now, the key figures at the center of this controversy are expected to arrive, as critics question luxury hotels, private jets, and whether the spending priorities are right.
I don't think a lot of veterans actually are devastated. The reality is, if you go deeper into Invictus, a lot of veterans are actually more upset, asking where all the money actually goes to.
Then another controversy surfaced across the Atlantic. Reports indicated that San Diego is expected to host the 2029 Invictus Games, immediately triggering a fresh round of questions about funding, costs, and potential taxpayer involvement. Or is this just another luxury stop on the map? Many is wondering whether history could repeat itself.
3, 2, 1, go. Here we go.
Keep your feet up.
Feet up, feet up, feet up.
Reports emerged that Australia stepped away from a proposed $9 million funding commitment tied to the Invictus Games. That move instantly sparked more speculation and left critics asking a tense question. Was this only a one-off setback, or were governments starting to seriously rethink future support for the Games? Under growing scrutiny now. The story took another unexpected turn when reports suggested organizers were only informed shortly before Australia's funding decision went public.
Yeah, Australia has done a U-turn. They had previously cut funding for the Invictus Games, but now veteran backlash has forced them to bring it back. But I want to break this down because I'm not buying it, okay? Australian government has reversed its decision to cut funding for Prince Harry's Invictus Australia charity, with Veterans Affairs Minister Matt Keogh announcing that federal support will continue for another 3 years. As part of establishing the new Veterans and Families Wellbeing, we're transitioning funding for broader well-being support. Sounds wise. To the veteran community, to that new agency. As we transition, in order to maintain continuity and certainty of support services for our veteran community, we're providing another 3 years of funding to Invictus.
That detail immediately raised eyebrows and sparked a fresh wave of questions. Again, for critics, the contrast was hard to ignore. Why they asked was one government stepping away from a major funding commitment while other governments were still being asked to consider spending millions.
So, and then they have these quotes from Harry. Time magazine does, Invictus gives them their identity back. What? What? And then he says it saves lives?
Well, she's big on saying that. I mean, look at all the lives Meghan saved by buying jeans.
Oh, God.
Those conflicting decisions only added more pressure to an already heated debate over transparency, priorities, and Invictus Games' future, under growing scrutiny now. As questions continued to pile up, the Sussexes faced another round of scrutiny.
And the performance, PD, on the moments when they know they're in the spotlight, the performance is so over the top.
Yet despite growing controversy, Prince Harry continued receiving major public recognition. That became a fresh source of debate when he appeared on the Time 100 list in sports category, alongside global names like LeBron James and Patrick Mahomes, once again debated online.
You know, my jaw dropped this week when Time magazine announced that Prince Harry was one of its Time 100 most influential leaders in sport, which I thought was hilarious.
The reaction online was immediate and intense. Many people were not just surprised. They openly questioned how the selection process worked and why Harry was included among some of the biggest figures in sports. Critics also pointed to reported links between Time magazine ownership and Better Up, where Harry serves as Chief Impact Officer. The story of Meghan's attempt to outshine her husband in this situation is already on my channel. Be sure to check it out.
They are so aware of how the cameras are on them at virtually every moment. They can only play the game for so long, especially Harry. But we also saw those moments when Meghan was literally yelling at him when there was the possibility of the cameras being on. So you can only imagine what it's like when they are in private.
Online debate growing. But moments like these reinforced a much larger belief. They argued that Harry's public profile benefits heavily from elite connections and institutional support rather than individual achievements alone. Whether that perception is fair or not, it kept gaining momentum every time another high-profile opportunity appeared.
Invictus Games, 4 Wounded Warriors, which sounds like the Wounded Warrior Games. And people think, oh, this must be great. And a lot of people are unclear how to read a tax return or to check stats. And so I think it was just very easy to say, oh, the Invictus Games, it's great. It does all this. And then, you know, you start looking into it and you're like, hey, what the heck is going on here? You know, those 535 competitors had to pay their own way. They had to pay their own housing for the games. They had to pay for their own equipment.
Then came another headline-grabbing moment that sent social media into a frenzy. Prince Harry attended an NBA Finals game as a reported guest of the league commissioner. But instead of celebrating the appearance, internet immediately focused on something else entirely. People quickly noticed Harry wasn't sitting courtside. Television cameras showed him several rows back.
Tom Bauer pointed out in his book during an absurd wheelchair basketball game, one team didn't even need wheelchairs, while the other team did. It was America versus Nigeria. Nigeria needed the wheelchairs, and after the game, the Americans all stood up, got out of their wheelchairs, and walked off. It's absurd. But also, there was no one in attendance.
And within minutes, social media users turned the moment into a viral joke. Memes spread across platforms as viewers compared the broadcast to a game of Where's Waldo, trying to spot the prince in the crowd. Live moment. One comment exploded online. 8th row for the man who's 8th in line to the throne. Whether people considered it funny or unfair, the joke perfectly captured the mood spreading across social media and quickly reached millions of viewers online.
They're ashamed of him. They consider him dangerous and toxic.
For many critics, the issue was no longer just about budgets, reports, or financial questions. It had become something much bigger and deeply personal now. One of the most repeated talking points surrounding the Sussexes is the idea that Meghan Markle often ends up drawing attention away from the Invictus Games itself.
She was absolutely loving all of the attention, but the problem is no one wanted her there.
Yeah, no one wanted her there. Reports were coming out even before the games that they did not want her there because usually the attention is taken away from, you know, the veterans.
Critics and online commentators say that whenever Meghan shows up at or near Invictus events, media attention quickly shifts away from wounded veterans and the game's purpose and moves toward her outfits, behavior, and public interactions, instead, once again, in focus now.
Meghan is there to soak up the limelight. There was a lot of tension from what I heard behind the scenes that it would have been best had Harry just kept her at home. And, you know, Meghan's going to do what she's going to do. She used it for her moment, for her new social media comeback. And that's what it is about for her. And people can see through that.
This pattern, according to some observers, has become especially noticeable during high-profile appearances, where social media discussions explode within minutes. Not about athletes or results, but about Meghan's presence, body language, or interactions with other guests, again turning viral attention.
When Harry was sort of making a joke on stage about Meghan singing, and just look at her over-the-top responses.
Now she's going to sing. Guys, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you,
And then...
Are you going to sing?
No, I'm not singing.
I mean, it's so disingenuous. Michael Bublé says to her, oh, are you going to sing? No, I'm not singing. I mean, it's really difficult to watch.
Invictus, an event designed to honor wounded veterans, often finds itself competing with royal-related headlines that overshadow its mission still. And every new appearance reignites the same question again. Is Invictus defined by its mission or by the people attached to it? Still under debate today now. Another recurring topic surfacing around Meghan is attention her outfits receive during Invictus appearances, online fashion buzz.
And out of these Invictus Games because she's turned them into a laughingstock internationally.
A lot of people did not want her to be there.
Critics and online commentators point out that whenever she steps out at these events, discussions quickly shift away from athletes and the game's purpose, and instead focus heavily on what she is wearing every single time again. Every outfit is analyzed within minutes. From dresses to casual looks, social media users break down designers, prices, and styling choices.
Meghan Markle has been forced to leave the Invictus Games, axed by Prince Harry after another PR disaster.
There is a lot behind the scenes that you don't see and hear about.
Turning what was meant to be a veteran sporting event into a full-scale fashion conversation online. Some commentators go further, saying Meghan's public image is closely tied to fashion branding, and her appearances naturally generate commercial attention for designers she wears. Is the Invictus just a perfect opportunity to profit from event? Specific Invictus outfits appear on clothing retail websites, often emphasizing that Meghan wore them during Invictus events. Isn't that ironic?
I am truly so grateful to be a part of this with each and every one of you. I've witnessed the most amazing support networks that surround competitors, and I've had the privilege.
Or is Meghan just simply dressing appropriately for public appearances, while media and online platforms amplify focus on clothing rather than the cause itself? And the debate keeps growing across social media platforms now still. Still, the debate continues to resurface every time she appears at high-profile events.
I think that will be the beginning of the end for Meghan as a public figure, because this is a man that she's abandoned. Just awful. It will be shame on you, Meghan.
Critics insist the pattern is predictable. The moment Meghan arrives, headlines shift, cameras zoom in on fashion details, and the original focus of the event becomes secondary again, now. Whether that is a media problem or a public fascination problem depends on who you ask. But one thing is clear. Her style choices and profiting from that have become an unavoidable part of the broader conversation surrounding the Sussexes and Invictus.
Harry and Meghan came in for 10 minutes for an adoring love shot. And of course, Meghan kissed Harry. And it looked like it was good and full. It wasn't. So I think the public interest is waning. And also in this time of economic disparity, people really want to know where their money is going to. And there are lots of other places that actually support veterans, may give them prosthetics if they need, may build a wheelchair ramp at their home, which is necessary, may do things that really help people as opposed to helping Harry's ego.
Anyways, one of the most persistent questions surrounding the Invictus Games is whether Prince Harry is still essential to its identity. Weak rising questions about missing funds, alleged profiting, and surrounding drama make the answer seem obvious at first glance. But let's take a closer look now in detail today quickly. At the beginning, many agree Harry was the driving force behind creating the event. His public profile, royal background, and personal connection to wounded service members helped bring global attention in a way few other figures could have matched. But those claims about the finances had not yet been made public then. And as the Games grew into a large international event, some critics now argue Invictus may have outgrown its original founder.
So we know he is going to Birmingham this summer to prep for the Games next year. And one of the reasons he's going is because he needs money. He needs sponsors. There's only 11 sponsors lined up so far, and they are all unnamed. Now, if you look at Vancouver, there were 44 sponsors, including Boeing.
They point to the expanding scale of the organization, the involvement of governments, sponsors, and international committees, and suggest the Games now function as a fully established global brand that no longer depends on a single individual to operate. From this perspective, Harry's presence is seen as symbolic rather than operational, important for branding and visibility, but not necessarily essential for day-to-day running or long-term survival of the event. But is this kind of branding even required in the first place?
Said that the $4 million in sponsorships, that the sponsors, the corporate donors, aren't named. So I'm wondering, because people will rag on the corporate sponsors? Do they have people giving them money who say, don't use my name? Is that possible?
Supporters strongly reject that idea. They argue Harry remains the emotional core of Invictus, the person who connects directly with veterans, and the public face that gives the Games its identity and mission. Without him, they say, the event would lose a major part of its original spirit and meaning. Still, critics keep asking the same uncomfortable question. At what point does a founder become less necessary to the project they created? And is Invictus already reaching that point, or not yet?
Prince Harry's Invictus game, you follow the royal family very, very closely. What's the latest there?
He's having a lot of issues. So I did write a piece this week, it was an exclusive, about how there are funding issues.
And another debate following the Invictus Games is whether the event is still purely about veterans, or whether it has also become a powerful public relations platform. In recent years, the spotlight around Invictus has increasingly included celebrity appearances, media coverage of the Sussexes, and viral moments spreading far beyond the sporting competition itself. They point to how headlines often focus on Prince Harry, Meghan, and high-profile guests, sometimes even more than the athletes competing in the games.
What I think with the Santa Bali thing, clearly Harry is tone deaf or too frightened to tell his wife that, look, you are the problem. We need to step back. You know, this has now just become a celebrity thing rather than looking at the true cause, which is to celebrate, honor, and really, you know, sort of inspire the veterans. I love them. I think they're, and I'm not just saying that, I genuinely think, wow, you know, when you're fed up, if you watch some of those poor people, and I don't mean poor in a nasty way, but you know, what they've gone through, and they get up, you think, get on with it. If they can do it, you can. These people are inspirational. All the men and women of Invictus and all those services who've gone through terrible things, you truly are. Of course, it's been hijacked.
From this perspective, Invictus has evolved into a global media event where storytelling, branding, and visibility play a major role alongside the sporting mission. Even supporters admit Invictus exists in a highly media-driven environment where every appearance, photo, and interaction can quickly become part of a much larger narrative. And that leads to the central question at the heart of this debate. Is Invictus still defined by its mission or increasingly shaped by its visibility?
$63 million Invictus Games spend into the mainstream media.
And now, with the next Invictus Games approaching, the conversation is starting all over again. Because every time a new edition gets closer, the same questions keep coming back again about funding, visibility, public perception, and what this event has really turned into under the global spotlight. Online discussions have even brought back older controversies, including a petition calling for changes in leadership around the games. That petition has been circulating for a while, and it has triggered strong reactions on both sides of the debate. Some viewers ask whether it ever made a real impact at all, while others argue it reflects a deeper frustration that still hasn't faded away. And if you want to go deeper into that story, there's a full breakdown on my channel. You can check it out at the end of this video on screen.
So it was really odd, but I do think that people are starting to cotton on. Again, when we look at the numbers of corporate sponsors lining up for Birmingham, there really aren't that many, and we don't know who they are. Only 11. Now, Boeing has, I believe, cut ties. I am doing that story for News Nation. It'll come out later today about how Boeing was the huge sponsor. The contract has ended and they are not re-signing.
But as the next Invictus Games get closer, another question is already stepping into the spotlight. Should Meghan Markle attend at all? Supporters say her presence is completely natural, as part of her role alongside Prince Harry and as someone who has publicly supported veterans through the games. From their perspective, her attendance is simply part of the event's modern public image. But critics argue that every appearance shifts attention. They question whether her involvement changes the focus of the games or whether it adds another layer of media scrutiny that follows the Sussexes wherever they go. And once again, the debate circles back to the same tension, the mission of Invictus versus the media attention surrounding it. Because at this point, every upcoming appearance doesn't just raise expectations for the games themselves, it also reignites the same familiar controversy all over again. And before you go, I want to hear what you think about all of this. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think Invictus is still staying true to its original mission, or has the conversation around it changed too much over time? And if you've got ideas for future videos or topics you want me to break down, feel free to suggest them in the comments as well. Make sure to subscribe to Hollywood Yesterday, because I'm dropping new videos every single day covering the latest Sussexes drama. And don't forget to check out the videos you can see on your screen right now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.